was like, holy cow. I was like, wow, man. That's, of course, it's got Captain America in it, Phil Coulson, and I expected this stuff to start unfolding like, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 months from now. Dude, it started unfolding this month.
Oh, okay. So it's a long going story.
Yeah. Dude, it started unfolding this week with this issue. When I told everybody a couple of weeks ago, you need to get to know these characters because this is going somewhere. I thought I was telling them for a couple of months from now. No, dude, it started with this issue. I'm gonna have fun talking about that book next week.
Cool.
Yeah, because I was thinking in my mind, Secret Empire was still 4 or 6 weeks away. No, dude, you read this book and you realize it's now.
I mean, it's kind of been now, hasn't it?
It really has since Captain America #1. But you read this book, I'm gonna bring this a little closer and see if this helps some.
Yeah,
I'm sitting in a different chair this week. I'm sitting in a different chair. Did that get me a little better? Okay.
Just a little bit. You're a little louder.
Okay. You want it closer?
You can pull it a little closer.
Okay. Yeah, I literally changed chairs, and this one sits a lot lower. Yeah, literally. I mean, this book. I don't want to spoil it for you, but dude, this book is just all about Secret Empire. I mean, Captain America is killing people. You got people from the future there. You got Coulson doing stuff. You got Deadpool doing stuff. You got Captain America hiding stuff. And this is all in Deadpool. I mean, we're not talking, Captain America's. This is the Deadpool book, man.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I knew it was coming in Deadpool. I just didn't expect it this soon.
Yeah. I'm ready to get into it, especially after that article that we read this week.
Yeah, are we talking about that today, or are we going to talk about the Defenders?
Let's give it another week on the Defenders. I'm sure not everybody's finished. We certainly haven't.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the article.
Yeah, is that all right with you?
Dude, you recap it, and I'll jump in where I can.
Are you plugged into your Ethernet?
Yes. And there's nothing going on at the house, nothing going on weather-wise.
Yeah, I've missed the first half of that sentence.
Dude, God almighty.
It's gotten progressively worse as we've talked over the last couple minutes.
Let me close some of these pages. What? Close that. None of this should be affecting it.
And I just did a speed test. I'm pulling down 65, so.
Check one. Check one. Dude, I'm sitting there. You familiar with inventories at all?
Yeah.
Did y'all ever have to do cycle counts when you were at GameStop?
Cycle counts. What do you?
A cycle counts where you just count certain.
You just do one section or one.
Yeah. That's a cycle count.
Yeah, we called them something else, but that's what I thought you were referring to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just okay. On Wednesdays we count this.
So anyway, we've been having to do cycle counts, and we do not have the manpower for it. And I thought last week we stopped doing them because I stopped getting emails about them.
Yeah.
And I literally, the emails just stopped. Well, what happened is Rocky didn't turn in the last one. And because he didn't turn in the last one, you don't turn in the last one, the computer's not updated, it's not closed, so they can't close and turn in a new one. It's 15 down, 1.5 up, which is as good as I'm going to get. And that 1.5 up was pretty consistent because sometimes it'll be bad, as in it'll bounce a lot, but that was actually pretty consistent at 1.5 up.
Okay.
So, dude, that's as good as it's going to get, man.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes that 1.5 will be bouncing down and up a lot, and it was consistent at 1.5. And Bruce, because what happened is Rocky just told Pie not to do it, and Pie just didn't do it. And I thought Bruce had signed off on that. And this was like Monday or Tuesday last week, where Bruce, our vice president of the Southeast region, calls Rocky this morning. And Rocky and I are in our morning meeting. It's like 8:15 or 8:30 or something. And dude, he starts ripping into Rocky with me. Pie had come in and asked me something. Actually, Bruce kind of started ripping into him, and he's like a minute or two into it. And I could tell what the conversation was. And I could tell, I could overhear just enough Bruce to tell Bruce's tone. And then I saw Rocky's face. And then Pie comes in and started asking me something. And I was like, this is all bad, man. I was like, Pie, we're peace out, man. We're going. My day was all downhill from there, man. It was all downhill from there. From people wanting stuff to too much to do and no time to do it to just, dude, I just don't have time, man. I don't have time for anything. I don't have time to change my mind. Not at home, not at work, not here, not there, not anywhere.
Yeah, it sucks. We were pretty busy this week too.
I'm trying to remember if it rained. It did rain. Because I know your alarms go off because people are stupid when it rains.
I mean, it wasn't enough rain for that. But it didn't rain here. But yeah. No, we're busier than we've been taking. I mean, we're consistently taking on more and more accounts. So we've just become busier. I mean, there's just been a steady trend of, we're expanding the business and there's an upward trend of how busy we are over the last year.
There you go. I'm going to go grab before we start. I'll be right back.
Okay. So you're going to grab something?
And you throw the note. Tylenol.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll put
you throw the notes up. I'll grab Tylenol. We'll be good.
All right, cool.
All right.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it could be WWE wrestlers.
Oh, we could do that if you wanted to.
Dude.
Next week we can be Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor.
Braun Strowman, man. Dude. Do you by any chance see the highlights from last night?
I didn't see a single thing.
I will see if I can. This is worth waiting another minute and a half.
Okay.
He picked Brock Lesnar up and threw him around like he was a 20-pound bag of flour, man.
Yeah, I knew Lesnar was going to get beat.
No, he didn't.
He didn't? I thought he was going to get. I thought he was going to get beat because he's going back to UFC.
That's what everybody thought.
Huh. There's Cena one.
Trying to make sure this is what I want.
That's the Universal Champion Lesnar who's in trouble.
Dude.
Look at how Strowman just with ease picked Lesnar up on his shoulder. I don't think Brock Lesnar has ever been manhandled like Braun Strowman's doing right now.
That's the first time. I don't know if this will have the second time he flings him up or not.
You know, I know wrestling's hitting it's in another heyday, but I just don't care.
I know you don't, but watch how this dude flings Brock around. It's got nothing to do with.
No, I get it.
I want you to watch how this dude just picks Brock up and flings him over the shoulder. And I don't know if it'll show the second time he does it, but he does it the second time. It makes it look even easier.
It's a big dude.
Dude, you got to see some of the strongman competitions he was in.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, he just picks him up and flings him over his shoulder.
Dude just picks him up, flings him over the shoulder, and runs with him about 20 feet like it's nothing.
Yeah, and throws him into a desk.
And I don't know if they're going to show the second time. He makes it look even easier.
I'll keep watching.
Yeah,
like I get it. Like, you know, if Trey had still been living here and we'd been, you know, he'd been watching SummerSlam, I probably would have like, oh, Brock Lesnar, I'll watch this match. You know, I'm just not.
Yeah, it's not. They're not going to show the second time, dude. The second time, he picked him up and did it again. And honest to goodness, he just spun him around like it wasn't nothing. I mean, literally, he just kind of picked him up, spun him, and flung him over the shoulder like it was nothing, man. Like it was just, dude. I mean, this isn't Brock who's cut weight and is down to 365.
This is Brock who's been in the gym.
This is Brock who's probably 380, 385, 390.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this dude is just flinging him around like he's nothing. Anyway, all right, so we're Nick Saban. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, you got the intro?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
What is up? This is the 6 month behind podcast for the week of 8/14/17. I am Pat.
And I am Sean.
And we're both Nick Saban this week because he just doesn't have time for you. He doesn't have time for your solar eclipse or your questions about his football team. He doesn't have time for any of it, man. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Yeah, the both of us could not contain the disdain that Nick Saban has for dumb reporters. Asking him dumb questions.
I'm behind posting clips on the website. I gotta put a lot of things in the website, but I need to just throw a couple of Nick Saban clips up there. And first off, there's like 100 Nick Saban mad at reporter clips on YouTube. I think the most classic one where it was just like, just talk to Coke bottle, just ask the Coke bottle because he'll answer and I won't.
Knows. Yeah,
but what set him off this week? They asked him about somebody, and he was like, "I don't know. What do I care? I don't know if the kid's starting. I don't know. I think what." It just went like a minute and a half tirade about it, and then they asked him about their clips, and I forget do you remember what the exact answer was?
When you can, the reporters ask him if the players are going to be able to watch the eclipse, and you can just see the disdain and disgust in his eyes. And you know you're about to get a sassy answer from head football coach of Alabama's football program, Nick Saban. And yeah, it was something like, yeah, I guess if they want to go out inside and see it, they can do that. You know, I think it's great and all, but why are you asking me this question? Like, this question has nothing to do with football. So I'm just going to give you a sassy answer because that's probably what you wanted anyway.
Because the thing is, people thinks he hates reporters and he hates people. He really doesn't.
No.
He's just so obsessed with football. And he's just so single-minded on what he's doing.
Yeah.
That anything that even takes his mind off that for like 1 second, one fraction of a second, just drives him insane. Okay, you've just asked a question that extended that press conference by 30 seconds. That's 30 seconds that either keeps him from going home earlier or 30 seconds from keeps him from doing something else that's important, and you just ruined 30 seconds of his day and you just made him mad.
Right. And he, kickoff is what? We're less than 2 weeks out. He's focused.
Yes.
He's focused on football, and they want to ask questions about an eclipse that he's just, nah, man, I'm not doing it. Nah, he's not doing it.
It's not.
And you know what? I'll be honest. I'm tired of people talking. Listen, it's nice. The eclipse is cool. I'm glad everybody's interested, but shut up about the sun.
Dude. I'm glad it's over.
Yes, it's over now. Well, no, it's not, because now that it's over, I'm getting puff pieces by the various websites that I read about their experience watching the eclipse.
Oh, good gosh. Are
you
kidding me?
Yes, just the profile on a little 3-year-old girl who saw the eclipse and what she thought, and what, this old lady who saw an eclipse back in the 30s, and now she's watching it again, and they happen every couple of years. It's not a huge thing.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm not Nick Saban, but I'm close in this distance. I'm really close.
Yeah, today in particular, like, it just got punched in the face with it. Of like, oh, the eclipse. I'm just like, oh God, everybody shut up.
I literally got up, walked out of my office, walked outside, looked around. It's dark. Did you take a picture? Yeah, let me see it. Okay, good. Walk back inside.
Dude, I watched it on the news on TV because that was a better than I could see outside because it was a little cloudy.
Dude, we're old and grumpy, man.
Yeah, we sure are.
Old and grumpy. Holy cow.
Yeah. If you want to tell us what you thought of the eclipse, please email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. Please follow us on Twitter at 6monthsbehind.
The website is www.6monthsbehind.com, where I will get caught up on doing everything. I could tell you stories, but you don't care. So there you go.
And don't forget to go check out our other show, What's Next. We did a profile on the Defenders this week. As most of you probably know, the Defenders show hit Netflix. You and I are about halfway through it. And it's good stuff. So if you want to read about the Defenders, go listen to our show. It
is good stuff. I'm really enjoying it. I am.
Yeah, I am too.
We decided we're going to talk about it more next week when we finished it and other people have had time to finish it, but I'm enjoying it. And Mike at work has finished it, and he says he really enjoyed the ending. So he said it's something to look forward to.
Okay, cool. Now you and I had an article that we wanted to talk about. I put it out on the Twitter page this week.
I get tired of saying this. I'm
unprepared.
What are we? A year and a half into this website. Into this podcast.
Yeah, this project.
Dude, how many concussions have I had in this time?
5, 4, 3, 6.
I don't even know. But I've had another one, so I'm running behind again. And That's just, I don't even want to go into the details. I'm behind, and we're just going to leave it at that.
Right. Essentially, what it was a profile on Secret Empire, in light of recent events. And it talked about, and you and I on this podcast have talked a great deal about what an awful move it was to take Steve Rogers, Captain America, and turn a symbol of America into a Nazi, an agent of Hydra. And the article takes a little bit of a different take on it, and I found myself kind of agreeing. And it's in that when you take those symbols, you have stories like this make us appreciate what those symbols mean. So anyway, it's on our Twitter page. It'll be on the website.
Yeah,
go check it out.
And it talks about what the symbols mean, and it puts the story in perspective as to what the symbols mean, and whether or not we should. Again, it brings the whole story, the whole Secret Empire story, into perspective. And should we? Somebody's having a Nature Boy moment at your house.
Yeah,
he's doing better, by the way. He's recovering nicely. He's out of his coma. Should we accept the story as it is? Should we, should you enjoy it? Should you not enjoy it? Should you read it? Should you not read it? And it's in light of Charlottesville last weekend, which we didn't discuss, which we didn't want to go into.
Yeah.
Which we didn't go into, which I still don't want to go into.
No. There's nothing to talk about.
No,
it's a settled issue,
right? And in light of our president and some of his views, and then at the same time, you've got Marvel, who didn't have any idea any of this was coming. They take their most patriotic superhero. If you take the most two patriotic superheroes there are, you've got Superman and Captain America, and they've turned him into a Nazi. And what do you do with this? And can you separate who Captain America is and what's going on in the United States from the storytelling that is Secret Empire? And, it's what do you do with Sam Wilson, and what do you do with Captain America? And this is a really good story. And if you're able to get into that story and get into what's going on here, it's really entertaining.
Yeah, and there's probably some lessons to be learned from it, given the time that we're living in.
Yeah, there's really some good stories there about your heroes becoming heroes, about people rising up and being who they need to be.
Right, defining, people rising to the level of heroes, not just it's a given that they are heroes.
Right, and
appreciating what that means.
Yes, but becoming who they need to be and earning what they need to be, earning that moment, earning that right, which is something that some of these heroes do throughout the story. And I'm going to tell you what, there's throughout Secret Empire, there's a large death toll. I don't imagine. I don't know how they're going to make this right. Okay. I don't know if they're going to leave them dead. I don't know if at the end they're going to restore the world. There's a lot of people who are wondering about that. Issue 9 comes out in 2 days. I'm really curious to see. 2 weeks after that, issue 10 will be out. And there will be a lot of people upset if they simply take a cosmic cube and restore everything back to the way it was. At the same time, if you leave a lot of these major heroes dead, they're going to be upset too. So
you got to,
they're kind of caught here, but at the same time, they created this storyline where the heroes who rose to the occasion had to do so in the face of great consequences, in the face of defeat. And without the death of the other heroes, with that great sacrifice, they didn't have that defeat. They didn't have those circumstances to overcome. They didn't have the opposition to overcome. If that makes sense. If that, you know, yeah. And I'll tell you, I just today I read the book. I read the previews for what's coming out in November. Yeah, November. That's right. I get so confused because we're 6 months behind, and that's what's coming out in like 3 or 4 months. So I'm juggling 9 months of books here.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anybody that's dead in November's books. So there you go. Doesn't mean they're not. Didn't see them there.
We discuss spoilers on this show. In case you were wondering. Yeah, so go read the article. It's really good.
It will be on the website shortly.
Yeah, as you've probably noticed, we do talk about spoilers, and yeah, we're going to be talking about more spoilers coming up. So,
hey, I didn't say a single name.
No, you didn't. Thankfully,
not one.
That's okay. You were halfway through before I was like, we didn't get to the thing about spoilers.
We didn't get to the disclaimer. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So, moving into our books this week, we have Inhumans versus X-Men #4 with its really rad Magneto cover. I don't know who did this cover, but it's good.
All the IVX for last week, all the IVX covers are really cool. There's some cool IVX alternate covers.
Oh, it's Lionel Francis Hugh. Okay, that's why it looks familiar. Yeah. Yeah. So we start out here on Muir Island. One of the Inhumans has brought Mosaic to the island. Mosaic's mission here is to infiltrate the X-Men. Meanwhile, in Limbo, you've got the royal family who seem to have devised a way to escape their prison in Limbo. Back on Muir Island, Mosaic jumps into the brain of Magneto, which is what we saw last week. So these events are really taking place, I don't know, I'd call it in tandem with the events of last week.
Well, yeah, it's either in tandem or before the events of All New X-Men that came out last week.
It's just barely before.
Yes.
So now Mosaic has jumped into Magneto's brain. He starts taking a look around, discovers the big secret about Scott Summers. He basically sees their whole plan and everything that they've been doing. And then you have this really weird, awkward scene with Magneto where he has to go to the bathroom because he's not in control of himself. And I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that.
Did he have to go to the bathroom, or was that just the excuse to get out of the room?
Well, it was just the excuse to get out of the room, but it's really awkward, and he's just like backs away from them and walks away awkwardly, and it's very un-Magneto of him. So they're just like, that's what was that about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after a short time, Magneto is able to repel Mosaic, who is discovered by the young X-Men. They alert Storm, give chase. Meanwhile, crap's going down in Limbo because the royal family's escaped, and Colossus is going to have to deal with that on his own. By the way, the school's still in Limbo. They just left it there?
They left it there with Colossus to defend it. And
yeah, but if you're going to put the most powerful Inhumans and your enemies there, like, why wouldn't you take the school and put it back in Manchester for a little while? You're going to leave anyway. You'd already made the decision.
Well, apparently transporting the school back to Westchester isn't as easy as it seems, and you're leaving Colossus to defend it. And Colossus asked Storm how, I forget the exact wording, but he asked how desperately she wants the school defended. And basically she says at all cost. And he says, okay, just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
And dude, he's ready to defend the school.
Yeah.
And I hope I don't remember if this fight scene is in issue 5 or if it's somewhere else, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a cool fight scene. Later back in New Jersey, a Mosaic possessed Scott Summers, young Scott Summers, he's stolen a Quinjet and flown off to meet his other new Inhuman friends. And Kamala's questioning who the real good guys are here. So yeah, it was all right.
Yeah. Maybe it was a little better than all right. Maybe it was.
It moved the story along.
By the way, when did Mosaic be able to come out of a body and just communicate with people like that?
I don't know. I assume we'll see at the end of his little. I don't know. Is that an ongoing his solo book?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't either. I imagine it's not. I imagine we'll find out somewhere in issue 5 or 6 of that.
Okay.
And how he gets hooked up with the other Inhumans, and yeah, that would be my assumption.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have our Monsters Unleashed book of the week. You know,
Point one. To just to
another
confuse the
1.1.
heck out of you.
Yeah, it's just, you know, at this point, it's just random teams and random people out of continuity, just fighting people around the globe. In this case, it's in Rome, and we have the royal family who were just here in limbo.
Yeah.
Now they're in Rome. Obviously, it's not in continuity, fighting one of the monsters. And Swain is the central character here.
Mhm.
She's the Inhuman who can control the ship's engine. What's that thing called? The ROV? Anyway.
Yeah, the Royal Inhuman vessel.
Right. So, yes, the ROV. Thank you. So, the engine's alive, and she controls it by communicating with it. So, she and Crystal get separated from the rest of the Inhumans. They wind up running in a cave, which Karnak points out is not a very good tactical
Decision.
move. So they run in the cave and they're separated from the rest of them. The monster chases them in there. She tries to take mental possession of the monster, and instead the monster winds up controlling her. The rest of the royal family runs in there and saves her, and the royal family comes and saves the day. Except when it's all said and done, she isn't really free from the monster, and they're back in the New Attilan. They're in New York, but she's still controlled by the monster somehow. I think she might be one of the monsters. I'm not really sure. Somehow her power still has her link to the monsters. And if you remember from the last Monsters Unleashed, you know, all those monsters are communicating all over the world, and somehow she's still communicating with them. So it wasn't bad. I mean, it just, you know, it's okay.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these tie-in books are just going to be this team faces the monsters.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's one of these real popcorn kind of lots of action shots and splash pages and that sort of thing.
It's one of those things where I was reading today by the guy that runs Bleeding Cool, who you don't like. That, you know,
Bleeding Cool's fun.
He went through all the books that he has sitting around in his dollar bin in his store, and in about 6 months, he's going to have a whole bunch of these books sitting around in the dollar bin in the store because they didn't sell.
Yeah, because these kind of events don't really sell.
You know, some of them do, but it's just kind of there, man. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, and I mean, even the continuity doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, is it before IVX and Civil War? Is it after? Is it between the two? I guess it's between the two.
I don't even know, man. I'm not sure anybody does.
No.
I'm
not sure either.
It's just there, man.
Yeah. So, anyway,
Anyway.
What else is also just kind of there is Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows #4.
Which you know what was in the November previews today for like issue 15 or something. So apparently this book is selling and everybody loves it.
Okay, so we'll discuss that in a minute. So the Parker family is able to get free from the creepy mole man, and after a brief close call with an open pit of lava in New York, they find some relative safety and just decide to yell at one another for a little while. Meanwhile, J. Jonah Jameson and Betty Brant are trying to figure out this Normie Osborn thing that none of us really care about. Meanwhile, her Anna Mae's parents are arguing. She decides to crawl down a hole in order to confront the mole man again after having just escaped from him. And it turns out he's found some kind of energy weapon, and he's going to use that to take over the surface, or so he says. And the Parker family puts the beat down on the mole man and swings off into the sunset. That's what happened in this book. And my question was going to be, is this an ongoing series? And I guess it is.
People can't see. I'm nodding my head. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, here's an inside baseball.
It's not. Here's the thing: is it's not bad. I just don't care.
We record this podcast either on Sundays. We either do it Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, or Monday night, depending on how our schedules are. And when we do it on Monday nights, obviously the new books for the week have already come out. There are real good books out for this week, the week of the 21st. These are real bad books. Okay. There's nothing here that really leaps off the page at you. Some of these are pretty good. That Fool Killer book is good. Kingpin's good. A couple of these are good.
There's a couple of good books this week, but there's some real mediocrity this week.
There's some real there's some good stuff next week, man. We've already talked before we went on the air and started recording. We talked about some of them. There's some good books next week. There's some stuff that sucks this week, man. Holy cow, dude.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
Yeah, this is really one of them.
You know, I guess there's fans for this. I don't know. People have been yelling about how Dan Slott destroyed Spider-Man with Brand New Day for 10 years now. So I guess that's who this caters to.
They're buying it, man.
Apparently.
They're sucking it up.
Okay. Tell us about All New Wolverine #17, which actually wasn't awful either.
It wasn't awful. It was actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah, you got some development with some characters.
Yeah. So Laura wakes up and there's the whole list of characters there. You had Angel, Gambit, the young Jean Grey, Gabby's there, and Gabby's there holding a rabbit. And they're determined to break Laura free from her, the hold that the chemicals have on her. And they have concocted a plan. And they're just going to lock her in the room, put the chemicals all over Gabby, and send Jean Grey into her mind and set her free. Which, you know, if this were as easy as that, it would have been done a long time ago, and they would have done it with Logan. But hey, different writer, different story. So here we go.
Yeah. Well, and she is fundamentally different from Logan in that way.
Logan
doesn't have a trigger set.
This is true, but if freeing someone from their mind like this were that easy, the original Jean Grey would have done it with Logan a long time ago.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
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 Although, it wasn't half bad.
Although there was a story 10 or 15 years ago that Professor X could have unlocked Logan's mind at any time and told him he was James Howard. He just chose not to do so.
Right.
Yeah. Anywho, so they lock her in the room and Jean goes into her mind, and turns out that while she's in this feral state, Laura is a little child with her mom reading bedtime stories to her. And Jean starts trying to communicate with her while she's doing this. The original Nick Fury, the second Nick Fury Jr., shows up to capture Laura Kinney. Now, let's pause right here. I thought at the end of Civil War, Nick Fury went underground.
I did too.
But he keeps popping up everywhere.
Yeah, with S.H.I.E.L.D.
With S.H.I.E.L.D. So is this
Yeah.
an LMD?
I don't know.
Or is he not underground? I mean, I
don't
don't understand.
I don't either. One of them hanging plot lines.
You know what? I'm making a note. I'm going to dig into Wikipedia when we're done because I want to understand what Nick Fury is doing. I mean, I know we're 6 months behind, but I want to. I feel like I've read every book. I mean, we read every book, right?
Yeah, we read it all. So
We read it all, and it's not like we missed something somewhere. I don't understand what happened to Nick Fury. I don't. I mean, because, and I hate it when like one writer leaves something like that hanging, and then they just
never
pick it up somewhere
address
else.
it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, you got Gorgon, not Gorgon.
Yeah, Gorgon in Inhumans with the legs.
Yeah. Okay. So he's crippled for years. All right. Well,
And then he's not.
Well, what happened is they needed him healthy to be able to stomp his way out of that jail cell they were just in. So at the start of IVX, he's healed. And nobody explains it. Nobody explains how it happened. He's just healed because in issue 4, they're going to need him to stomp his way out. So he's just, boop, he's healed. There you go. Done. No explanation, no nothing. It just irritates me when they do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I can forgive some continuity error like that. Like I can forgive, it's like the old joke with Wolverine. He's in every book. He's on every team. Like, what does he find time to do anything? How is he here when he's over there or in space?
But just
I can forgive, but stuff like this where you have a character doing something, and then all of a sudden they're doing something else that's in direct conflict with what they were doing, that's glaring.
But just throw me a 10, 20 word, couple of word bubbles. Hey, I'm glad you got healed here so we could do this. Boom. Done.
Yeah. Just give me a quick explanation as to why Nick Fury's running around with S.H.I.E.L.D. again. Give me 6 pages at the end of a book somewhere where he and Maria Hill have a serious discussion and she decides to bring him in.
That whole fiasco when they spent 3 issues in the mountains fighting with that kid's mother, where he freaked out and they put him on trial and kept him in bed for an issue. Let him be healed there instead of just leaving the same way he came.
Yeah.
Dude, this isn't hard, man. I could write this crap better than this. Anyway, so Nick Fury's coming in. They're being attacked by somebody that I've never really completely understood who they're being attacked by. Angel basically goes up and saves them. Gambit's guarding the door. They, charge into the whose hideout were they in? They were in somebody's
I don't know.
Tiger. They were in Tiger's bunker. They charge into the bunker right about the time that Jean Grey and Gabby have set Laura free, and she's free, and then they can shut the doors behind them and field off the attack of the super battleship that's flying in after them. Yes, I said the battleship's flying because that's what it looks like, and that's what it is. And I'm not making fun of this. It was really a good issue. It was really entertaining, actually.
Yeah,
this whole Enemy of the State, and Enemy of the State is an old Wolverine storyline from 10, 15 years ago, and they're just they're rehashing the story.
Right. You're getting a Laura Kinney version of the story.
Yeah, and it's actually very good, and it was entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. This has been a pretty solid book overall.
Yeah,
we're 17 issues in. And I'd say I'm enjoying Laura Kinney as Wolverine.
It's one of the better books consistently that Marvel's putting out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it might not be the best book they're putting out every month,
right?
But consistently,
yeah,
yes, yeah. You could add it to a pull list and know you're getting your money's worth every month.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that really hammers home how good Laura Kinney is at being Wolverine, and I think she takes up that mantle perfectly. And this is where it's a natural story progression of the characters to have someone like her pick this up.
Absolutely.
And then you can have old Wolverine just being Logan, and he's just, he is who he is. But the costume of Wolverine is now Laura Kinney.
Yeah, and Old Man Logan is another book that's consistently good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. What's also consistently good is this Black Widow book. We got Black Widow number 11. So the girls from the Red Room infiltrate this top secret shield base in Antarctica somewhere. And the thing about this base is if they manage to arm the base's weapon systems, they can destroy all of shield in one fell swoop. Like this base is the one that's like, you know, this is the big red button on the helicarrier somewhere, and from this station it'll destroy everything that shield ever was. It's the doomsday scenario. So Natasha's there to stop them, and most of the book is her battling her way across the base to find the 5 keys that are needed to arm this weapon. Then the headmistress shows up. Things take a turn for the worse. That sounds like a brusque review of it, but you've got to remember this book is there's not a ton of dialogue in this book. That's kind of one of the themes it's playing with. It does a whole lot visually.
And it was very entertaining.
Yeah, the art's really good. The visual storytelling, like we keep saying about this book, is always just on point. And when you can have a book like this where you just have, I mean, there's a couple pages here where there's just no dialogue or very little. And it's just action and watching a story be told visually. And I really like that.
Yeah, and when this is one of those books, we say that sometimes.
Yeah.
Some of these books can just be read individually. Just you can just pick up Fool Killer number 4 and just read it. I think the best way to read this Black Widow book, maybe in a trade paperback form.
Yeah.
Just sit down and read 1 through 6 and sit down and read 7 through 12 when they come out, or just sit down and read 1 through 12. And I think you'll really enjoy it when you just read all of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, you could just say you were curious about this book. If you pick this issue up off the shelf, it'd be a good standalone issue.
Absolutely.
You'd go, oh, you get exactly what this story is about, which is just, you know, Black Widow doing spy stuff and kicking butts. Yeah, it's a solid book, man. It's been a good one. Another consistently good title for Marvel.
Yeah.
Which brings us to another consistently good title from Marvel.
You know, I'm going to love and hate on this book at the same time.
Are you? I didn't read it, so I don't know.
Kind of like the app. Tell you what you do. Open it and just thumb through it. Don't read it. Just thumb through it and look at it. I'm going to recap it very, very quickly. Deadpool is stuck in Howard the Duck's body. He's carrying Rocket Raccoon from place to place. They're basically going to Roxxon locations, trying to find a place where they can get the cure for Rocket. Howard the Duck has given up on talking to him in his head, and because Deadpool doesn't listen, even though he's in Howard's body. Howard's stuck in the negative zone. At one point, they break into a place. It's a highly secure Roxxon facility. That's a kindergarten. It makes no sense. I don't understand. Finally, they get to the place that they can cure, where they can cure Rocket. And Deadpool's ideal is to blow the tank up. It's got chemicals in it. And Howard starts screaming at him because he needs to put Rocket in the tank instead of blowing it up. Of course, Deadpool won't listen. So then Howard has to start pretending he's Wolverine in Deadpool's head so he'll listen. And if that sounds crazy, well, it is. However, that's the crazy part of the book. The good part of the book is, and I'm not familiar with either one of these people, Jacopo Kaminji drew this, and Israel Silva colored this thing.
Yeah.
And the art and color in this is just magnificent. And it's a combination of the two. It's the art and the color. And I don't think one without the other works.
No.
Really, really looks good. I mean, just
sometimes you just get this synergy between an artist and a colorist. And a lot of times these guys work together. And I wonder if that's the case with these two. Because
There's a
This
picture of
is really
Howard
good
on
art.
page 16.
The
This is
shading's
really good work,
The shading's intense.
dude. It's a really good looking book, man.
It really is. You're right.
I mean, maybe I missed it in the first 2 issues, but dude, this issue 3 just really, really looks good. I mean, it looks good, man. I mean, it's a bad read because it's a bad story.
Yeah,
But
it's just the concept is too silly.
it looks good, man. It really looks good, and again, it's a combination of the art and the color. But it looks good, man. Golly, does this look good?
Yeah, reading it myself, I thought, or just looking at it just now, I thought, yeah, this is really good looking art.
Yeah, I was, as I was sitting there, and I'll tell you the truth, I put it off till today to read the thing because I just put it off to the last minute. And then as I was just because I started just thumbing through it, I was just gonna hit the highlights, and I got to looking at the art, and I was like, holy cow,
Mm-hmm.
that looks good. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Well, there you go.
there you go, man. I was surprised.
Incredible art wasted on Deadpool the Duck.
Yeah, I don't know who Jacopo Kaminji is, but I'm gonna see if I can find some more of his artwork, or I'm gonna be looking for more of his artwork because this looks good, man.
Absolutely. Something else with decent art is Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supremes. We got number 5 this week. So while the Sorcerer Supremes are trapped in the Forgotten's prison, we basically get this sequence. The meat of this book is this sequence explaining the madness of Isaac Newton. His obsession with numbers and understanding and controlling the world basically led him to study the mystic arts to the point where he became Sorcerer Supreme in his own time. Well, he was like subbing in while they thought the Ancient One was dead or something. I don't know. We also get to see a previous adventure where Newton, Doctor Strange, and Clea all fight Doctor Doom in the Dark Dimension. And his whole obsession has been this magic word that's called the Word of God that he thinks will make him God or something like that. And he uses this Doombot to suss out this word of power that he's been searching for. It was one of the Doombots left over from this fight in the Dark Dimension. And yeah, I'm a little confused by the whole thing. I'm not sure if he's figured it out or what, but it looks like the Supremes have found a way out of the prison, so maybe. I'm enjoying the story. It's getting the snake's starting to eat its own tail a little bit.
Do what? You lost me with that analogy.
It's getting a little weird, even for me.
I just opened up my Google app to read about Max Bemis and there's a Secret Empire story there. Now I want to read that.
Yeah, I could tell you about Max Bemis.
Well, I know. I was trying to get there before you did because you were talking about whatever it is you were talking about.
I was talking about Sorcerer Supremes number 5.
You were doing your review and I was trying to get ahead on my review.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a good book. I'm not sure what the motive is here behind Isaac Newton. Like, I get it that he wants to kind of control everything, but I don't know. Yeah, anyway, it's good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's better than, I'll be honest with you, it's better than Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange book.
You know, that Jason Aaron Doctor Strange book didn't really work out, did it?
No, it didn't. And I think he's off that book now. And
I know he is. There's a new writer. Marvel just hired a new writer that's taking it over in November.
Yeah.
Some hotshot writer that they just paid a bunch of money to.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think he's refocusing on Thor because he's getting ready to wrap that up too. He's also not on Star Wars anymore currently, or will not be very soon.
I can't remember what the guy did. He was writing for Image, and they hired him to take over Doctor Strange. another major book, and I think he's going to do a creator-owned book, if I remember it correctly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like it when Marvel invests in new, talented, unique writers, much like Max Bemis.
Yes. Which brings us to Fool Killer number 4. Are you reading this?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding?
Your boy Max Bemis.
It looks really good, and I'm a big fan of Max Bemis, so you know.
It did look good, and this was entertaining. I have to say. And Max Bemis's first effort, I don't think you agree. Matter of fact, I can't decide if you liked it or if you just liked it because you wanted your boy Max Bemis to succeed.
You're talking about the worst X-Men ever?
Yes.
No, I genuinely enjoyed it because it was absurd in a way that I enjoyed. Also, understanding that it was written by Max Bemis and I'm familiar with his work, you understand the mindset that it's coming from. So I think that helped. Anyway,
for our listeners who don't know who he is, explain who Max Bemis is.
Max Bemis is the lead singer to the punk rock band Say Anything.
Also,
they've been active for some 10, 15 years now, and I've listened to everything they've ever done many times.
He and Chris Conley also sing in a group called Two Tongues.
Yes, he does Two Tongues. I'm not as big a fan as Two Tongues. I like his wife's band, Sherry Dupree. She's her band's good.
So anyway, he's doing this Fool Killer book.
Yeah, and if you ever want to know about the weird beef between Max Bemis, Sherry Dupree, Chad Gilbert, and Haley Williams from Paramore, I can tell you about that too. So anyway.
Nah, it's okay.
Okay, you just want to tell us about Fool Killer?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's doing a very good job writing Fool Killer.
He really is.
He really is. So Greg, Fool Killer, wakes up to find that Deadpool is taking care of him. Yes, we have Deadpool in this book now. And we've said this many times, many times. It takes somebody special to write Deadpool and make him funny. And Max Bemis does two things here. He does a good job of fleshing out. What's Greg's last name? I can't remember. Anyway, flashing out Fool Killer in this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, writing Deadpool into this issue. He does both at the same time. He takes a character who's been greatly underutilized the last year and a half, the Hood, brings him into this issue and makes him worthwhile again.
Yeah.
Just he really knocks this issue out of the park. So anyway, Fool Killer wakes up and finds Deadpool's taking care of him. He's taking care of him. He's got his girlfriend tied up. Why does he have his girlfriend tied up? Because she was bothering Deadpool, and he just likes tying up women. So he begins counseling Greg, and Greg begins counseling Deadpool, which is essentially the whole issue.
Yeah.
And Fool Killer helps Deadpool. Deadpool helps Fool Killer become a better hero. That's essentially what the whole issue is. And it's really good, man. I mean,
it's really well done.
At one point, they go to a house where all the Avengers are hanging out. The Avengers, of course, beat on Deadpool some. I said Greg Poole. Beat on Deadpool some. And there's a couple of classic Deadpool lines there. And you got to know what you're doing to write Deadpool right.
Yeah.
On page 6, Greg says, "What's the problem, Wade?" And Wade answers, "The problem? Well, I'm a schizophrenic deviant with a face like rolling cottage cheese, carnal desire for anything that poops, and a deeply held belief that I'm living in a comic book."
Yeah, okay? I remember that line.
I mean, it takes work to write that and make it fit. Okay? Yeah. It really it does. On page 8, Greg tells him about one of his problems, And Deadpool's response is, I can relate. This year, I've sensed this weirdly amount of attention on me. I run around doing 5 things simultaneously every month that seemingly occur at the same time. I've gone from being a fringe act to being treated like I've got this huge mainstream success. I can't quite put my finger on what it might be. Dude, that's
Deadpool.
That's Deadpool, and that's funny.
Yeah,
okay?
It's really funny. Yeah.
I mean, but you got to wedge it in there just right.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Deadpool is explaining the Fool Killer. You know, you can't just be a hero. Okay, you gotta find your place. And Fool Killer finally figures out, hey, I gotta go kill this dude who's running around acting like me, and I can't just be a hero. You know, I am what I am, and what I am is a psychopath who kills other psychopaths. And Deadpool realizes, hey, he's Deadpool. You know, and Greg tells him, look, you are what you are, man. You're crazy. You know, just accept being crazy and try not to be too crazy. And
which, if you know Max Bemis, is exactly the kind of story he would write.
Right. And that's that's where the story kind of ends. And well, you know, obviously Fool Killer is going out to kill someone.
Yeah.
And that issue ends. And dude, it was a great issue, man. It was a great issue.
Yeah. I feel like if Max Bemis, you know, Deadpool's really good right now, but if Max ever wanted to write Deadpool, I think they should totally give him a spin.
Yeah, he'd be great at it. I'm convinced after this issue, he would really be good at it.
But yeah, why this is so good is Max has a really good experience with being crazy. So yeah, he knows how to write it like a crazy person.
Well, there you go.
If you were reading his Wikipedia page, you can scroll down a little bit and you'll see he's basically spent 2 years in a medicated coma in a psych ward because he's crazy. And he's fine now, and you know, they got him off the drugs, and he's stable and married and has a couple kids, and he's got a career writing comic books and doing music. But for a while there, it was rough.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm glad to see him doing something. I'm glad to see him doing this, writing comic books, and doing well at it. Yeah,
he is doing well at it. He's good at it.
Yeah, and he's got some creator-owned stuff too that I need to dig into because I hear it. I constantly see it getting attention. What else should get your attention this week is Kingpin #1. So we're getting a new solo Kingpin book, which I don't know if we've ever had a solo Kingpin book before or not.
To my knowledge, no. And I don't know how this is going to play out during Secret Empire, but I know at the end of Secret Empire, he's going to have an ongoing series. I just don't know if this is like a limited series and they're going to start another ongoing series after Secret Empire, or they're just going to keep it going through it.
Surely they wouldn't launch a #1 ongoing and then cancel it 4 to 5 issues in and then relaunch it.
You know, I read a story somewhere. I know where it was. It was a story on Bleeding Cool. And it was, what it basically was about comic sales. And I'm going to post it on the website because it was comic sales in general. And one of the things it says is a lot of what Marvel is doing. And it talked about DC and Marvel and Image and I think Valiant maybe. And it says what they do is they roll out some of these books like Renew Your Vows and the Sorcerer Supreme, you know, Doctor Strange and Sorcerer Supreme, and some of these, you know, Fool Killer and some of these books. What they should do is roll them out as a 4 or 6 or 12 issue limited series, and see how they sell, and then roll them out as a ongoing series if they sell well.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me.
And
that's what I've been saying for ages.
Instead, they just roll everything out as an ongoing series. I mean, all those Black Panther books came out as an ongoing series. Everything comes out as an ongoing series, and instead just roll it out as a 4 or 6 issue limited series. and they just won't do
Right.
it, man.
You put 6 issues out, you wait 3 months, you do it again. You evaluate.
And in the 80s and 90s, everything came out as a 4-issue limited series. If it sold, it got its own series. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
But
did.
these days, they seem like they're just greenlighting whatever they like.
Yeah.
And sometimes the audience likes it, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah. And in the article, he said, it's not fair to the writers. He said, it's not fair to the creators. It's not fair to the distributors. It's not fair to anybody.
No, it's not fair to the fans who get 3 issues into something, maybe even 2, and decide whether you're going to cancel it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and dude, all you got to do, and with a 4-issue limited series, you can look at the sales, and by the time number 4 hits the stands, man, dude, you can turn around and green light the first issue of an ongoing series.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Kingpin number 1. So this book is about Kingpin, but it starts out really being about this reporter. We start out in a boxing ring in Hell's Kitchen, and apparently she reports on boxing folks. Boxers. People who do the boxing.
Boxers,
indeed. She's approached by who I can only assume to be Wesley, who essentially agrees to pay her $2,000 to sit in a car and go meet Wilson Fisk. And Wilson, after beating some dudes up because he's doing the karate when she shows up, he asks her to write his biography. And she's kind of resistant because she knows exactly who he is and what he's about. So he says, look, I'm throwing this little shindig tonight. Why don't you come and rub elbows and have a good time, and then we'll talk about it. So she does, and it's not really as good a time as she anticipates. She doesn't really care for the highfalutin, snobby business people of the city. She has a little run-in with Matt Murdock, which is interesting. And later at her apartment, Wilson Fisk just shows up in the middle of the night, and he's like, listen, let's go get donuts. You and I'll talk. I'll see if I can smooth this over a little bit and get to the point of what I really want you to write here. Which essentially is he wants to write about his past so that he can get beyond it. It kind of, at least from this first issue, you get the impression that maybe Kingpin's turned over a new leaf in a way. Then they have a little run-in with the junkie in a park. And he's able to diffuse the situation. Drops the reporter off at her apartment, and she decides to cash the check that she needs the money, and she's going to write the story. Later, we find that same junkie with his needle stabbed into his arm and his head twisted around, and yeah, he's dead, and the police are investigating, and well, maybe he's not reformed so much after all.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an interesting first issue. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. It's got my attention.
I will say this. He wants to go legitimate. That's what he's doing here.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do in Secret Empire. He wants to go legitimate. I honestly don't know how legitimate he's going to try and get or be. We'll see how it works out for him.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy number 17 continues the Grounded series, which you and I are not a fan of.
No, but in this particular issue, there's not a whole lot happening on the ground.
No, this is one of the better issues in the Grounded series. It's just not, I don't know, man.
It's Gamora chasing after Thanos.
Yeah.
Which is about as interesting as their stories have gotten lately.
I mean, it's a good issue. It's just not the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just not the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's, it's like the all new X-Men. This is a solo book. It's a Gamora solo book. So, it is what it is, and it's not bad. I mean, it opens with Gamora scouting out the Triskelion, planning her attack on it, and the that's not the Ultimates, that's Alpha Flight. I was going to say the Ultimates. Yeah. That's Alpha Flight. Finds her doing it, and they decide to prevent her from doing so, and it's actually a very good fight sequence. Lasts for several pages, and they underestimate her, and finally they take her down. And when she wakes up, Miss Marvel politely explains to her that, I'm going to ship you off planet. And by the way, if she can ship her off planet, why doesn't she let all the Guardians leave? Because it's all Rocket and Groot and Peter Quill want to do is get off planet.
Exactly.
So anyway, but, now she says, oh, I can't find them. She tells Gladiator, who's come and arranged transport for him, that she can't find them. So Captain Marvel explains to Gamora, hey, I'm going to send you off planet, and I could get in trouble for doing this and not turning you over to authorities for all the trouble you've just caused me, but I'm going to send you off planet, and if you come back, we're going to have issues. So they go to take her off planet, Gladiator and Alpha Flight, and turns out it's not Gamora, but it's one of the little agents there on the Alpha Flight station that Gamora's painted green and dyed her hair green, and Gamora has escaped. Yeah. And Gamora attacks the Triskelion, only to find that Thanos really isn't there, and they trap her in Thanos' cell, and Captain Marvel does just exactly what she said, which is imprisons her in that cell and leaves her there. And there you go.
Yeah, it was actually not a bad issue, but
it really wasn't. It's just, you just want, and it's good art. It's good art and good color, like that Deadpool the Duck book that I don't think the art's quite as good, but the color's good. It's just not a Guardians book, which, I want a Guardians book.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. What else was pretty good was Miss Marvel 15. So Kamala's late to class again, except this time she's not the one getting the attention. And it turns out that one of the other girls in her classroom shared some photos with her boyfriend, who promised to keep them private and then didn't. So that's awkward. Later at lunch, Kamala invites this girl to sit with her friends because they want to support her during this difficult time. So while this girl, I think her name's Clara, tells her whole story about what happened, Kamala realizes it's linked to this troll character she's been confronting. So she manages to track the troll down to a construction site and confront him. Except it's not actually him, it's some lady who works in like the office of the construction site. But she's super strong and recognizes who she is, who Kamala is. She and Kamala have a fight. Police show up. They arrest the lady. Except something seems kind of off. It seems like it was almost as if she were possessed by the troll. And now that the fight's over, she's come to, and all of a sudden she's being put in the back of a police car, and she has no idea what just happened. So later we find out the troll's in control of her, and her actions were not her own, and the troll's still after Kamala. It was all right.
Did you enjoy this?
It was okay.
Okay.
Could have been worse. Did you not like it?
This book's not for me, man. And when I say it's not for me, I mean it's literally not written for me.
No, it's very much directed towards young millennial girls. And
literally a third to a half of the book is written with the, in the high school, in the cafeteria, being for class.
Yeah, it's very young adult. It's tailored to a young adult audience.
Yeah, I mean, it's not written for me, for my age group, for my demographic. It's not at all written for me.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be a theme in this book is directly or indirectly dealing with issues that are relevant in young adults.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to review Unbeatable Squirrel Girl in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And that book won an Eisner Award for, which are the comic book awards. Okay, the comic book equivalent of an Academy Award or Grammy Award. It won an Eisner Award for best teenage book. Okay, that's not written for me. Just like Sex Criminals isn't written for teenagers.
Exactly.
Okay? It's Squirrel Girl
Right.
and Miss Marvel aren't written for me. Sex Criminals isn't written for teenagers. So
No.
there you go.
And listen, I've read Sex Criminals. It's good. It's excellent writing because Matt Fraction's an excellent writer, and it's kind of a funny concept. But it's not something I'd let my high school age kid read.
No, and Miss Marvel and Unbeatable Squirrel Girl aren't something that a 52-year-old man wants to read. So there you go.
Yeah. And I enjoy this because I understand what it is, and I think it's good. So, is it always my favorite thing to read? No, but I appreciate it for what it is.
Sure.
And so do you. It's just not, it's a little less interesting to you than it is to me.
Right. It's just not my thing.
Right.
So, okay. And when I was asking if you enjoyed it, I mean, I was sincerely asking, are you into it?
It's not the best issue of Miss Marvel that's come out recently. There were a few. I mean, there have been Miss Marvel issues that I was like, man, this is really good. I enjoy this. And I'm because I'm the kind of guy who likes a message with his comic book anyway. But
Yeah.
it's all right.
Now, don't get me wrong. When they take Miss Marvel and put her in other situations, in Avengers and Civil War,
Champions.
some of the stuff she's going to do in IVX and the Champions, some of the stuff she's done in Secret Empire. I enjoy the character. I simply don't enjoy.
Yeah, I think
her
that's part of it too.
in all the high school drama in her own book.
Right.
So I really enjoy the character. I just don't enjoy her in this setting.
Right. Yeah. And I'm the same way. I think part of what I like about the book, even if I'm not like super sold on stories like this, are, I enjoy the character as she is.
Yes, I do enjoy the. Don't get me wrong. I am in no way hating on the character. I'm not one of these people who's hating on the character at all. I just don't enjoy this book. Simply isn't for me.
Right. Yeah. And you're not the target audience.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Power Man and Iron Fist number 13.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the target audience for this book because I haven't really cared for this book at all.
Did you read it?
Nah.
Well, here's the thing. Let me sidetrack for a moment before I start reading it.
Mhm.
In this book, it talks about Jessica Jones and Luke Cage being separated. Which, if you're not reading Jessica Jones, you're in no way going to understand.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
Let me
I didn't know until just now.
Let me think about this for a moment. I'm trying to figure out. I don't guess I'm going to spoil it because you can't get Jessica Jones on Unlimited. So am I spoiling it if I tell you what happens?
We already gave a spoiler warning, so
I'm trying to count how many issues of Jessica Jones would be on Unlimited right now. I think it would be on 4 or 5. The run ends at 6. She basically took the baby, gave it to her mother, committed a crime, and got herself arrested so she could be thrown in Rikers because she wanted to commit a criminal act so she could connect with some criminals. And then, and I'm kind of still reading this in trade because it's got the trade like a week and a half ago.
yeah, kind of like how Danny did a couple issues ago in this book.
Not really, because Danny didn't plan on getting arrested. He just kind of did. But Jessica planned on getting arrested, and she kind of went deep undercover. And it kind of leads to her hooking up with Maria Hill, and it leads to her being deep undercover for a long, like 2 or 3 months. And finally, her and Luke get back together and reconcile. And when you get into Secret Empire, you're going to see them get back together, and you're not going to know what happened because here it's going to talk about them being separated, and then they're going to get back together, and they'll be back together when the Defender starts in a few months, and you're not going to know what happened. So it's going to be confusing. She basically goes deep undercover to do some work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know why they made that. Dude, there's no nudity. There's no sex. It's just if they just leave out a few profanities, that book's not even, it's not even that bad.
Yeah. I mean, there's worse.
I know. That's the thing. I mean, you could take out some of the profanities and it wouldn't be bad at all. So anyway, Alex is our villain here. That's the kid's name who's been doing everything. And he is just flat off the rails. He's going crazy. And he's really going crazy because he's in a war with Tombstone and he's losing. There's a body count racking up on both sides. The police are concerned. Mariah's concerned. Everybody's concerned. Don Trail's leaving town. They go to Piranha's funeral and some of the villains are there and Luke shows up just to pay his respects. And it's kind of a neutral ground thing. And Luke's just like, look, I'm just here, no problems. And, and of course, Alex Wilder, that's the kid's name, isn't there because, he didn't care about a funeral. And Luke's just like, look, y'all need to get out of this now because this kid's crazy. And if you remember in issue 1 and 2, we had Senor Magico. Did I pronounce that correctly? Magico? Sure. The guy who has the street magic. So turns out what Alex did is he's running that technology with a form of magic. So he's kind of like Dr. Doom. He's combining the magic and the technology to do what he's doing, except he's losing the war and he's lost a lot of his henchmen. So Mariah, in all of her wisdom, suggests that he goes back to Senor Magico. That can't be right. Anyway, he goes to the street magician and gets some of his power. So he goes over there, and if you remember how that worked out for the other young lady that last had a stone from him and got it, it didn't work out very well. So Alex goes over there and attacks Senor Magico and gets some of the powers of the sorcerer weapons, which we thought Doctor Strange had all of, but he didn't. We've been down that road before. And at the end of the issue, he's turned himself into this really, really powerful demon that Danny and Luke got to fight. And there you go. It's really not a bad issue.
Yeah, it gets a little weird at the end with the demon dude.
Well, that's what Alex turns himself into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Totally Awesome Hulk, number 16. Did you read this? I assume you did.
No, I maybe I did. I don't know.
Okay. I was going to ask what you thought of it.
Tell me about it, and I'll let you know if I remember it or not.
Okay, so Prince Regent Falcon of Seknarf 7 has returned to exact his revenge against the Asian American heroes. After a round of fisticuffs, they're transported 18 million light years from Earth, because that's what the Hulk said, because he just knew, I guess. Because if you're Amadeus Cho, you can just be transported somewhere in space, look at a star, and go, oh yeah, I know where I'm at. Can't even do that when I drive downtown. Anyway, it's here on this rock floating in the middle of space, that Falcon of Seknarf 7 informs them that they will be eaten. So the heroes, now calling themselves the Protectors, begin working on a way to escape and save the civilians that were caught up in this with them. All right. I don't know.
Apparently not.
I'm real neutral on this. I don't really. It's fine. It's a neat little team up. It's whatever.
Apparently, I didn't read this, and
it's way better than.
It.
Yeah, it's better than him playing basketball for 2 issues.
It's got a cool cover.
Yeah, the cover is cool.
There you go.
I like all the characters that are here, so I'll enjoy it for what it is. And it's not him playing basketball with an NBA star. So
yeah.
Yeah, tell us about Unbeatable Squirrel Girl.
She's at Empire State University. I was trying to remember the name of the university because I didn't write this down because there's not that much to tell. She's hanging out at Empire University with all of her friends, and there's a guest speaker there who is Melissa Morbick that she happens to be a fan of, and she goes here to speak, and she says all the usual things: great power, great responsibility. The machines are going to take over the Earth, and they discuss how human error with machines causes problems. And then after the speech, she comes up to Doreen and wants to see her. She meets with Doreen afterwards. Turns out this Melissa Morbick can talk to animals just like Doreen can talk to squirrels. And Doreen's all excited because now she has a mentor.
She has a chicken named Alfredo.
Yes, chicken named Alfredo, who she eventually cooks because, what are you going to do with the chicken named Alfredo besides make a chicken Alfredo soup with it? Because she's a villain.
Chicken Alfredo is not a soup.
Not a soup. It's a
pasta dish.
It's a pasta dish. Thank you. I was trying to think of it. Yeah. Anyway, but she's got a bear that cooks it because the bear's the chef.
The bear's the chef. She can talk to the chef, or she can talk to the bear, who's the chef.
She talks to the chicken and says, like, "Hey, your name's Alfredo. What do you think was going to happen?" Anyway, that's not a joke. That's really what the line was. Anyway, so she becomes Doreen's Squirrel Girl's sponsor and hooks her up with a cool flight suit. And Squirrel Girl starts fighting with Rhino. Of course, she doesn't really fight Rhino. She talks him into giving the shoes back because, she never fights with anybody. She just talks him into being a nice guy, which she does. And she doesn't realize that.
Yeah, he's going to be a unicorn now.
Yeah, that's what he's going to be. And she doesn't realize that Melissa's really a villain, and that's the end of the issue.
Right. She intends to manipulate Doreen as Squirrel Girl.
And it's not bad. It's like, as we said with Miss Marvel, this simply isn't for me.
Yeah, I like the costume change. I kind of hope they go with this costume for a little while.
I really did. I like the costume change, her being able to fly, which was really cool.
Yeah. It elevates her a little bit. It was okay. I actually enjoyed the issue more than I thought I would.
Can you ever read this book without thinking about her and Wolverine?
No. I think about it every time. Every time I read Squirrel Girl, I'm just like, yeah, she hooked up with Wolverine at one point in time.
Every time. And I hate the art in this book.
Yeah, I know you do.
I do. I know they're doing that Archie kind of art, and I know that's what they're going for. I hate it. I mean, you look at that Deadpool the Duck art, you look at that Guardians art, that is what I love. And this is as far as you can get this and it's one of the Spider Books art.
Clone Conspiracy?
No, it's Silk. This and the Silk art are as far as you can get away from what the book on those two.
Oh yeah,
I'm still looking at the cover of the Hulk book. I mean that's what I love, man. I mean, and this is as far as you can get away from.
Yeah, this is not it
at all. I mean, and this isn't it.
Yeah.
Man.
Shooting across the galaxy to the Star Wars universe, we have Dr. Aphra number 4. So Aphra and her dad have been spotted by the Imperials on Yavin 4, but not before they're able to gather the information that they needed to lead them to their next discovery in this thing they're doing. So a great deal of the issue is spent fighting off the Imperials while trying to escape the planet. That's like, I don't know, eight pages. So when they finally reach safety, Dr. Aphra and her father proceed to go to the coordinates that they found in that temple in Yavin. On Yavin. It's here they find the ancient stronghold of the Order of Spectu. They weren't even sure if it was real until now. And next issue, we'll finally get to see them explore the ruins. And now this is what I wanted. I wanted ancient Jedi lore, and that's what I'm getting.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. This book's been okay so far, but I think it's about to get real good.
Cool.
What was your favorite book this week?
I put asterisks beside them as we went. Either IBX number 4 or Kingpin number 1. I'm going to go with Kingpin number 1.
Okay.
What about you?
I don't know, man. Fool Killer was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Fool Killer.
Cool.
Runner up is Unbeatable Squirrel Girl because I actually really enjoyed that issue.
Yeah.
So we had the dump this week. More 90s Hulk. We got some old Journey into Mystery, which was good. Go back and read that Journey into Mystery stuff occasionally. It's worth a look at.
Thought that was this week. That is this week.
Yeah, but there was some last week too.
Oh, was there? Okay.
And your classic read this week, I saw a couple different things, so I'm just going to hit some highlights real quick. In your Discover tab, you've got a character close up on Cable, which he's in the news because they just did some casting in the movie. You've got Marvel did a little preview on Defenders, so you can read all the individual books that the new Defenders are in. You also get some of their other, you get books about Colleen and Claire. And just some of the other stuff that's in that sphere. So that's a good thing to go check out. And you also get this creator spotlight, this Ed Breeson's best of picks, and there's some good stuff in here. You've got the history of the Iron Fists, which is the Ed Brubaker, Matt Fraction Iron Fist from a couple years ago. You've got the beginning of Jason Aaron's run on Thor. You've got a Bendis and Maleev's run on Daredevil. You got this Black Widow book. You got Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, Punisher Marvel Knights, which was Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon, which began the Punisher Max series, which is really good. You got Mr. Knight. It's that Moon Knight book from a couple years ago. Yeah, there's some good stuff in the Discover tab this week. So there's a handful of classic reads for you. Yeah, there's some good reading.
There is, isn't there?
Yeah.
I
actually had a different classic read for last week, but I think I'm going to take that and do a What's Next episode about that. Okay. Speaking of, if you're into the Defenders right now, which I'm sure you are, please go listen to our What's Next podcast. We'll be talking about the Defenders. It's already up on the feed. If you want to get in touch with us and tell us your opinions, email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. Also visit the website.
www.6monthsbehind.com.
And as always, before we go, Pat, do you have any wisdom for our true believers?
You know, we joke about wisdom. We do a lot of joking about it every week. And this week it's going to be serious. I don't know how old you happen to be, but I'm 52. I'll actually be 53 next Monday, just as a coincidence. I and Jack Kirby would be 100, I believe, next week. And same birthday. We share a birthday, coincidentally.
That's cool.
Yeah. But take care of yourself while you're young, because when you get old and you've had 20 concussions, or you've had your shoulders replaced, or your knee hurts, it's tough. So take care of yourself while you're young and you're like still able to get in shape and you're still able to do things, because it's a whole lot easier to do it while you're young than when you're old. So there's your wisdom for the week.
All right. Take care of yourself, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.